Hey, all week we've been talking about making changes. That's right, the changes that you cause, someone else causes, or caused by some force outside of your control. Well, today we're going to talk about when it's time to actually consider changing back, or when we think it's time to change back because it might not be working, or it's working too well, or we get scared because it's a new place that we're in and we don't know what to do there. All that and more is coming up on episode 838 of today's Antidote.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Tom's moving his head with the final little chiming. He's that's the last couple of times he's been doing that.
I think it's the afternoon. It's the fact that, as we'll let people know, we're recording this, and so it's currently in the afternoon. And
can I do my disclaimer? You know I live for my disclaimer.
Why don't you go ahead with that? That'd be helpful.
All right. So, folks, hey, Tom and I are wearing the same clothes for the third show in a row. We have not gotten kicked out of our homes. We are not hobos. We are just recording this episode because yet another conflict has come up with our Thursday morning. So, to be true to you, we've recorded this episode. What that means for you is you're going to get the same high caliber program that we do every day. And
are you judging our program?
I am. Looking for that validation. We talked about this, Tom. And I got to get somewhere. And you can comment, but we're not going to respond to the comments right away. And we're not going to put them in the chat because we can't, because, well, we'd have to know what the future is like. And while I'm working on building the machine that allows comments on podcasts, I don't have time yet to work on the time machine that allows me to know what you're going to say Thursday morning at 7:07 a.m. I'm working on, it'll be the next thing. I'm writing it on my list right now, Tom, and I will get to it.
Wouldn't AI say that it could figure that out?
That's what we should do one day. Do our program and then have AI put the chat in.
That'd be interesting. Can you do that?
I don't know. Love to see.
All right.
So, anywho, now, Tom, you can go into your introduction.
All right. Hello, everyone, and good morning or good afternoon. Depends on when you're watching, listening, or viewing this broadcast. Welcome to today's Antidote.
Watching, listening, or viewing? Wouldn't watching, listening, or wouldn't watching and viewing be the same thing?
Maybe. I don't know. I think they're two different words, so you could define them differently, and there might be a difference there. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
I haven't thought about it enough. Right. Just said it. Where each morning, Bob and I have a conversation around the topic, and we dive a little bit deeper into that topic. The topic, as Bob mentioned this week, is making changes, and we're discussing the question, time to change back? I think a question that pops up a lot of people anytime you make changes is trying to figure out what is your process or what is your plan on how you may or may not decide to go back to what you were doing before. And as we go through that conversation, if you have any thoughts or ideas around that, please feel free to share them. As Bob mentioned, because we're recording this, they will be there. And so they'll add value to people who are watching it. We just aren't going to be able to put it up in the recording. And so we encourage you to share your thoughts and ideas. At the conclusion of that conversation, Bob and I will each offer our one thing, our today's antidote. That thing that we hope will help you figure out if you happen to be stuck, you're uncertain, if life seems a little out of control and maybe a little chaotic or work, that we're going to help you, and that this step will help you find some confidence and clarity to take the next step, whatever that may be. So please feel free to share your antidote as well, because we know it might be what someone else has been told yet didn't really hear. And you saying it might,
or even one of us.
Correct. You might be so tired of listening to me talk about why the word right shouldn't be used, or taking the word but out of your language, or adjectives don't have value. All those things that I repeat over and over,
Tomisms.
over again. You may not actually hear it. And then someone else says it and you're like, that's a great idea. Maybe I've heard that before and I'm not really certain. I hear it today. So please feel free to share your value. Before we dive into that conversation, though, and our antidote, we start our mornings off with celebration. So, Bob, what are you celebrating today?
I'm going to celebrate something really personal, which is it's near the middle of May, and I've only had one day with hay fever. Usually by this point, I am just having all kinds of sneezing. I can remember doing the program. We recorded an episode late in the day a couple of years ago, and it was not pretty. I was holding back sneezing the whole time. So thank you. Whatever the environment is doing, whatever has caused this to not be the hay fever season for me, thank you.
I like that.
How about you?
I am going to celebrate a great couple of days with my parents and the opportunity to spend some time with them, which is always enjoyable. Be back in my hometown, and be around those things that I was around when I grew up. And I think that's always an interesting time to go back and sort of listen and see and figure out what's going on now, and still have all those memories from all those things that happened all the years ago. Just things might look a little different today. So,
did you run into your high school crush at the general store?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you got to get down to the general store and get a soda pop and see if she, shows up.
I'm not sure she even lives in this area, although she could be doing the same thing, back in town visiting somebody, and possible, I guess. I don't know. I'm okay with that not happening.
Okay.
All right. So you ready to dive in the topic?
I am.
You want to kick it off?
I would love to. So
dive in.
One of the things I find that almost every business owner I've ever talked to in any situation, they always have the moment where they say, I changed this thing and I really think it was a bad decision and I want to change it back. And when I started to ask them, well, why do you want to change it back? Well, no one's responding, or, we used this email service and now we're using this one and no one's responded. It's been out there for 2 minutes and no one's responded. Or we changed our website and I got a call from someone who said they can't find the button to pay. Okay. Or, I changed my hours and now I have fewer appointments. And what I find often is it's not causal. It's often you make the change, but then you find the information that supports your decision to go away from the change. And it's not always a one-to-one. In fact, most of the time it's not a one-to-one, because I'm like, well, what makes you think it's that? Couldn't it just be that, well, this is a holiday week? Well, yeah, but no, maybe it's a holiday week. And I think the thing that I've realized is you have to give things time to figure out. They have to work themselves out. I know. I'm setting you up.
I don't know. I mean, you might be surprised with what you get from me.
Okay. All right. But I think it does take a little time, because if we just knee jerk and then go back to something that worked or didn't work, the fact that we make a change should suggest that we needed to make a change. If you're just willy-nilly making a change, you decide that, I've used a MasterCard for the last 3 years, and suddenly today I'm going to use my Visa card for work stuff. Well, that doesn't make sense. Is the interest rate lower? Are the terms lower? Is Visa accepted at more places than MasterCard? There's got to be a logic to it. It can't just be, I'm just doing it because I can, because that's how, especially if you have employees, that will drive your employees crazy. When you just randomly change things, go, well, we're doing it this way today. Lunches are from 12 to 1, not 11:30 to 12:30. Well, I made plans for 11:30. I'm getting my hair cut. Well, too bad. We changed. Why did we change? Well, I just decided it was time for a change. My buddy down the street has lunch at noon and he says it works really well. The they said is always the best reason for a change. And so when you make changes, what's that?
Is the best reason or isn't the best reason?
I'm being facetious.
Yeah.
It's the most frequent decision maker. Well, they said I should do it. Oh, okay. And you did it. And I think in that case, often it might be time to change back when you do what they said, because I've yet to meet the they. All those people you talked to, I was at a networking event. And the guy told me this worked for him. Oh, really? What's his business? I didn't get his card. Oh, okay. How do you know he wasn't the bartender or just a guy playing golf and you happen to be at a golf facility? We don't know. And I think so often we're looking for success so aggressively that we will cling to anything rather than taking responsibility and thinking things through. Because it's a whole lot easier to blame it on the they if it doesn't work and to take credit if it works than it is to say, you know what, it's my business. I'm responsible for every decision, good, bad, or indifferent. In fact, when I say that out loud, that scares me. Like literally, I could feel that in my chest.
Fair.
I bet I'm not alone.
Probably not. I would agree. So here's what I was thinking about. This is the way my mind crazily works. What's one of the things that always surprises you about what I do with my business? That you usually give me a hard time about or you question. Like, I can't believe you're doing this.
Giving away more value than you should?
Well, yes, and that's not the one I was looking for. I know there are a couple here, so it might take you a minute to figure it out.
I don't know.
So what do I do a lot of?
Telling me not to use adjectives, not to use the word but or and.
Yes, and what else? As a part of my work, you do some of it as well.
Speaking,
presentations.
Okay.
What is the one thing that always shocks you about me and presentations?
I have no idea. I'm sorry.
All right, you've ruined this whole thing. Sorry. No. That I wait so long to put the
last minute thing. Yes.
And one of the things I sometimes think about is if I start doing it way in advance, how much time am I going to spend questioning, is it quote unquote right? And I need to go back and change one thing and I need to do this. And I feel like I spend a lot of time running it through my head and running all those things through my head. And then at a time at which I have to just do it, make a decision and put it together, I feel like I have explored many of the things that I would consider or try to consider as I was going through it. It just allows me not to have to feel like and worry, did I do this quote unquote right or quote unquote wrong? And so I build all this up in my head. And then when I'm ready to do it, which is usually a day before, maybe like today, the day of, I'm able to then piece it together the way that I would like to piece it together and not then be questioning, because if it was done on Monday, how much time would I spend questioning some of the things that I could do this differently, or I could do that differently. Maybe I made this change. I don't want to do that. I want to go back to this. And I think there's some sort of ability to create a finality to it. And, and I think, so that's part of my thing about making changes is choosing a point by which you will evaluate where it's at and then let it go from there.
I got to tell you though, Tom, before you go any further, that is the best explanation for why someone might want to procrastinate. And I've taught probably 3,000 college students, 100 or so high school students. I've heard lots of reasons for procrastinating. That is without question the best one. Like, you should really wrap that one up and sell a course online for like $5. And college students would buy it and they would literally follow that script. When they were working on their paper at the last minute, they go and be like, so I was worried about analyzing it. So I decided I would just put it off till the last minute because it's all percolating in my head for the last couple of days. I know you saw me out with my buddies having a good time, but that was me thinking. That's part of my process. I think you'd sell that course out.
I'll have to think about that. I'll consider that. You're not buying it.
I'm trying to, but I'm also balancing that with, aren't you doing the same thing that I would do if I get the presentation done 3 days earlier, just in a different sequence? There's a point, like I've got something I'm doing tomorrow morning. I got it done 3 days ago. I've looked at each day. I've made slight tweaks to it each day.
Why?
just because I've looked at it and I've seen it with fresh eyes. I've gotten new information from people.
Okay.
I've considered things differently.
Could it also be a judgment on it? Possible.
Yeah, but how is that any different than what you're doing? If you're saying you're letting it percolate in your head for 3 or 4 days, and then you're doing it at the last minute, it's really no different. It's yes, the act of doing it is different, but the thought process is really the same. You're thinking it through, then doing it. I'm doing it, then thinking it.
Maybe. I mean, you might also be thinking, do it, and then questioning.
Potentially.
Possibility. I mean, I
right.
think.
But those aren't examples to me of change, right? Because a presentation is a finite thing.
Yes.
I think of more the idea of change is we're going to change the hours at our store. Instead of being open 9 to 6, we're going to be open 10 to 4.
Isn't it just a decision?
It is a decision, but it does have repercussions.
Doesn't procrastination have repercussions, as you probably know very well?
I wouldn't know. I don't procrastinate.
Oh, fair. That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about that. That was what was going through my head, as crazy as that may seem. And I think there's something to it about I think the point that I wanted to make about it was choosing a time by which you will make a decision that you choose ahead of time.
A final decision, an evaluation decision.
Correct, because you've evaluated.
So we changed our hours 3 weeks ago. We've gone through our cycle, and now we need to just say, "Hey, is this working or is this not working?"
Yeah, and not just because your favorite.
We need to give it more time, right? Third choice.
Yes, because I think what happens too often is what you were talking about is we make a change that we think is what is the decision that we can make in the moment, given what we know. And then our favorite customer comes in and says, well, why did you do this? I hate this. And then you're like, oh boy, if our favorite customer doesn't like this, everybody else isn't going to like it. And so because of that, the emotion that builds up around that, we change it back and just forget all the other.
The next customer comes in and says, oh, I really liked it. And then you change it to the new way again, and then back and forth. I've seen companies do that.
Because they're making decisions based on emotion or judgments rather than saying, let's pick a date now.
Right.
And that date we'll measure it, and then we'll decide. And we're not going to judge it for the moment. We're going to wait and sort of evaluate it, measure it, and then understand it, and then figure out what we do from there. I think
that one thing.
Yeah, I think so. Is that so often we just do this based on emotion or based on results, which usually the results drive an emotion, and then we tend to, I think, overreact to one piece of information, and that leads us sometimes to, be so much like a free flying blanket in the wind or a flag in the wind. We're changing all the time, and I don't know.
Lovely image, by the way. I love the free flying blanket in the wind. So often I see blankets flying in the wind.
On a clothesline, people still hang.
That's right. You're out in the middle of nowhere. You're probably in Amish country right now, so you could be seeing that.
Yeah, people hang. I have a clothesline and they hang stuff up. Absolutely.
Wow. Are they going to wear petticoats down to the line dancing on Friday?
I'm not sure about that. I'd have to
Okay. So
how about you?
My one thing's a little different, and that would be that if you've made a change, there was a reason for it. And so often I find that we forget the reason for the change. We get so wrapped up in the actual change, the mechanics and the feedback, we don't remember that. I don't know that many people that just randomly change things. There's usually a reason. And when you get back to that reason, I think that gets to your idea of how you evaluate it.
Yeah.
The reason is key.
I agree.
There you go.
Excellent. And if you have your one thing, please feel free to share it in the comments, or you can share it in our Ring of Renegades Facebook group. If not, we hope we see you there, or we'll see you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.-ish Eastern time for our next episode.
We'll be live.
We will be back live, God willing.
Amen.
Unless something changes.
Fair.
All right. Are we going to embrace the renegade in you today or no?
Yeah, let's embrace it. I just feel like I've said that a lot today. Let's embrace the renegading you on this beautiful Thursday. It'll be worth it. I promise you.
Absolutely. All right, everyone, go out and enjoy your day. We'll see you soon. Oops. I think I messed that up. Here we go. Let me try this button. Thanks for listening to today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.